It's a good day to be doing Bleav in Chargers. Chargers win their third in a row. They knock off the Steelers in primetime. They're 4-0 in primetime games. Of course, Friday, Brazil. Thursday, Minnesota. Monday, Raiders. And the latest lows, Sunday Night Football. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and man, did that defense put on a show.
A clinic. They were, one word to describe them, lights out, legendary. They got after it. Of course, the ageless wonder, Khalil Mack. Let me introduce myself. Don't forget, I am still able to go get you a safety. Just really got that defense going. I mean, that was a staple win for this. Of course, the Chargers. And this, the way that they played all three phases I thought was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And we welcome you to Bleav in Chargers, courtesy of FanDuel. We love FanDuel. We appreciate FanDuel. Throw some stuff at you here real quick to kind of give you an idea of where those folks think the Chargers are. They're favored to beat the Jags. We'll get into that matchup this coming Sunday. It's a huge one. Just think about tiebreakers right now because the Jags beat Kansas City. They are the 7th seed, and the Chiefs, if the season ended today, are out of the playoffs because the Jags had that incredible Trevor Lawrence falls down, gets up, scores the game-winning touchdown. This is a big tiebreaker because the Jags have just been this hot and cold team, and when they're right, they look pretty darn good. When they're not right, they don't look very good. So let's get, as you mentioned, Lo, that defense to continue what they've done these last 3 weeks. Right now, they are favored. The Chargers favored on the road, minus 2.5, over under a little bit lower, 43.5 when you think about these two quarterbacks and all the weapons that each of these teams have on offense. So it looks like they're projecting maybe another defensive leaning game with the 43.5 and the 2.5. As for the big picture, odds to win the division plus 320. So as the second place team with a 3-0 record and away games at Kansas City and Denver and a home game against the Raiders, still plus 320, which you might be able to find some value in if you're not too concerned about the offensive line. And I thought they did a really good job of mitigating their challenges on the offensive line. It was a heck of a game plan, I thought, by Greg Roman. A lot of quick game, a lot more quick passes out into the flat, a lot of yak from these receivers than we'd seen in the previous 8 games, the previous 9 games, I should say, this season, Lo.
Yeah, it really was. You saw, Herbert getting rid of the ball, not saying, okay, look, I'm not going to go 7-step drop as much because of the fact we understood the inconsistency on the offensive line. So he got the ball out of his hand. You saw Q, you saw McConkey, just boom, throw it right out in the flat, and those guys let them do the work. Even the little Keenan comes across and boom, just a little pop pass and let him just catch it in motion to break the chart, set the record, most receptions as a Charger, and keep rolling on that. So they did a lot of things that they're going to have to continue to do. Because, as closer we get to the playoffs in December, we're in November and December, things start to tighten up. More margin for error starts to shrink, starts to get tighter. And that's what's going to start happening because now you're getting in this playoff. This is the move now that you have to be able to sustain, and you have to make sure to continue to make gains because this is the playoffs. Right now, the next 4 to 5 weeks, the playoffs. This is what it is. It's to see who's going to earn the right to be in the playoffs. So these next couple of weeks going to be crucial.
Yeah, just, we always talk about it because it's important, complementary football. And I think this was a game where Coach Harbaugh, it was obvious by the way they played, went in and said any possession that ends with a touchdown or a kick is a win. It doesn't matter what kind of kick. If it ends with a touchdown or a kick, that is to be put in the positive column. And this is a Steelers team that came in +9 in turnovers, second best in football. Now, granted, a lot of that was from the Colts game the week prior when they were +5, or +4 in that game. But it's don't give them an easy button. Do not give them any opportunities because this offense coming in, and we talked about Aaron Rodgers and how he's looked, and he's certainly fit in well. You see the low number of interceptions, the high number of touchdowns, but it's just hard. It's a labor. They're just going to dink and dunk their way down the field, and that's what Jesse Minter loves because he knows the way his defense plays, the way he calls it, sooner or later they're going to get you. They're going to get you to make a mistake, and it was almost Steelers football. It's like we're just going to play physical. We're not going to get crazy. We'll take our sacks when we got to take our sacks. Ball was never put in harm's way. Like I said, a lot of quick game, not a lot of dangerous throws out there, and they were able to just execute perfectly a physical brand of football on defense. Like you said, the safety from Khalil Mack. and take the 5 sacks,
Yep.
take the, what was it for punts? I can't remember what the punts were, but there were quite a few.
Yep.
And JK punted the hell out of the ball, by the way, man. That turnover, 6 punts to 4 punts for the Steelers. Now, they had 3 turnovers, so there is that to be built in. But I thought it was a really smart, and as Coach said after the game, as Coach Harbaugh said after the game, man, that's my kind of game now. Physical.
Yeah.
I like spreading it out. I like all the points and the fireworks. He's like, but you give me a physical brand of football, and that's my kind of football. And I thought they out-Steelered the Steelers.
They did. It's interesting you say out-Steelered the Steelers. That's what the Steelers been known for, the Iron Curtain. You know that usually that defense and what they have and who they are. And this, even if you look no further than their head coach, he's been there 10 years. This is a guy, that's been there. Tomlin's going to have a tough defense. Their pride on their defense. And this hasn't been the Steelers' defense of, yesterday year. We talked about that before the show, talked about that last week before the game, that the Steelers' defense, one of the highest paid defense, hasn't been consistent itself. You saw against the Jets outscored in a shootout. You saw this defense the Steelers team's been in some shootout games and come up on the short end of the stick. You saw them when they went down to Green Bay in a shootout. The defense couldn't stop. So it just goes to show, I don't know if this is more of a reflection on the Steelers or the Chargers. I think when you look at the Chargers on their side, it's a team that understand, hey, look, we're going to struggle at those both tackle positions. We're going to struggle at times, but we can play complementary football. We can say, look, let's not turn the ball over like you alluded to. Let's make sure we make them take that long road. If they're going to score, we're not going to turn the ball on our red zone. We're not going to give them ball on our plus 50 on the other side. We're going to keep them deep and let a team, if you can go 90 yards against this defense, I'm going to tip my hat and say, good job to the other guys. That's what Jesse Minter and Harbaugh is saying. Offense, don't give the game away. Protect Herbert. Give him 2 to 3 seconds, and we're going to be fine. Look, we're going to throw the ball, and you see, what can you say enough about, watching the receivers continue to make steps? Gustin, you talk about the tight end. This guy's all over the field. The plays that he can make, he's almost unguardable by a linebacker. Watching this young man play receiver, and then Vidal watching the running back. I thought he continues to run physical. Took a step back. We thought a couple weeks back, but you watched, he ran hard in between tackles, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards a pop. I thought their running backs by committee did a hell of a job Sunday night under the lights.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Lo, there was no committee in this one. Where there was the week before with Patterson, this was the Kimani Vidal show. I mean, he 26 touches, had 23 carries, 25 carries. Justin Herbert had 5, and Patterson only had that 1 carry. So they put their trust in number 30, and Vidal delivered. And I think, the one thing I said this on the Instagram after the game, that, and I didn't really kind of hadn't broken everything down yet. As soon as I walked in the door, I didn't get home till almost 10:30ish. So
right.
I hadn't had a chance to look at it, but after looking at it and doing the numbers, if you didn't watch the game or you did watch the game and then you go to the box score and you're like, come on, 25 for 95, 3.8 per and a touchdown. It's like, no, that's not what it was, because he carried 6 times on those last 2 possessions where they were just running the clock out, including the garbage touchdown that the Steelers got, that to some degree masked really how dominant this team was. But Vidal was basically 20 for 90 is what he did. He had 5 carries on those last 2 drives for negative yards that put it at 25.95. So he averaged 4.5 per. He had 2 pops, 1 for 12, 1 for 11, had the touchdown, ran hard, ran between the tackles hard. And that's what you needed to do, because the only thing the Steelers really have, I mean, we were in the middle of the game and Patrick Queen had already missed like 2 tackles, I think, badly. And to the point where DJ is like, I got to look this up, man. And he just popped it in, and freaking coming into that game, Patrick Queen had 18 missed tackles this season already. They are one of the highest missed tackle rate teams in the league. And I thought Greg Roman did a great job of, okay, well, prove to us you can tackle. Here's a smoke to Q. Here's a smoke to Trey Harris. Here's Kimani Vidal between the tackles. Here's a flip out to Kimani in the flat that went for 13 yards. Like, he played to what the game script suggested he should play, and that's force these guys to tackle you. Let's see Darius Slay try to get, Ladd McConkey down. Both sides of the ball, Lo, they beat their ass. I mean, they beat them up on both sides of the ball.
They really did. They were the most physical team. They were dominant. You saw Herbert at times when he has to take off. I mean, this guy is so instinctive when he runs, and how deliberate Herbert is becoming as a runner. I mean, he tucks it and puts it away, and he's getting north and south. He makes it clear, decisive, and he's making that move. And the big fellas, he's eating up some ground as he's running. But you just watch, you watch Ladd being able to get open and guys doubling, watching him find a soft spot and just bam, turn on the jets, watching him get in the foot race. Thought he was going to win that foot race, and he had said, let me stop for a second. But just seeing that, and then Q, like you said, just throw it to him in the flat, make him let a guy miss, put the hard foot in the ground, get back inside and get back out. And watching the Steelers struggle badly in the secondary, trying to get the Chargers on the ground, the Chargers receivers, the Chargers tight end. They had a horrible time, a tough time trying to tackle those receivers and those runners after, once they got past the line of scrimmage. So I think that was a great test. It was still big. That's still a Steeler team that you look at that's in first place in their division. Baltimore, don't look now, but Baltimore's trying to make a comeback. But if you think about it, you beat a first team in the AFC East. This is something you say, okay, who cares? That's their problem. All you got to look at when you're playing football and you're playing the game, you say, whoever's in front of me, I got to beat you. Whatever team, whatever dude's in front, we have to win our battle. And that's what this team did. You talked about it. We talk about it every week. This team is not good enough to not play complementary football. You have to play sound defense, sound offense, and sound special teams because you're limited in certain positions. You have to make sure that you keep this team together, and that's what they did. Complementary football, don't give up the huge plays, play field position, don't turn the ball on offense, and you're going to be in every game. You're going to be in every game this year.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, along with the complementary football, it's the setup, right? It's not just about us, and that's what we said when I think it was after the Broncos game, we were talking about it, how Sean Payton, as great of a coach as he is, as brilliant of an offensive mind as he is, and I think this is sort of some of the things that they run into and why that offense is struggling a little bit right now without a Drew Brees to kind of really get it to hum is it's just a series of plays. It's like, hey, here's this play and here's this play and here's this, and there's just no real flow to it. It's just kind of whatever Sean Payton sees and wants to put out there. Whereas in this game, that touchdown you talked about to Ladd, man, they were setting that thing up all game. It was all outs, outs, outs. And all of a sudden, it was on our end of the field, and you could just almost see Herbert when he got up to the line of scrimmage and he saw Ladd, and he's like, oh, he's got inside leverage. And they aren't playing it. Like the safeties, Ramsey's way too wide, Eccles leaning out, and bang. Ladd just set him up, and it was an easy touchdown. So he walked in, and that was the first in-breaking route, really, that they had thrown all day. They had just been setting them up with all these outside routes, thinking, they want to stay out of the middle of the field. And then, boom, there's your haymaker. And poor Brandon Eccles, man. Not only did he get toasted on that, but how about that throw from Herbert to Ladd for the big gainer, for the 59-yarder. I don't know how he fit it in there. I don't know how Ladd caught it. And it's just a reminder that there's some dudes in the league that can do things that almost nobody else can do. And that was a Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey special right there, man.
Oh, no question. He put it right on the rope. That little bang 8 that he hit him with was unbelievable. Like you alluded to, okay, here's these Chargers. I got a body blow. Okay, I'm getting ready to body blow. I'm going to protect my body, and boom, right over the top. Ladd push him, stretch his outside shoulder. You step on his toes. You watch Ladd take off and run his route, and you saw the two safeties deep, and you said it. It's they've been beating them outside on those little post routes, corner routes, getting to the outside. Ladd pushes his outside shoulder. He's starting to bail already. Ladd sticks his foot in the ground, posts inside, and bam, the ball's right on him. Herbert, great job, great read, and he walks in the end zone. You're like, is it always going to be that easy? But when you give this team time, and Herbert has time, I'm talking about time in the pocket.
Yeah,
they're going to be a tough out. If this team if Herbert was given the privilege like the majority, you look at Kansas City, you look around the league at the upper echelons of teams. they have some pretty good offensive line, especially at the tackle position to protect. If he had, a second more, I'm telling you, this team, it'd be hard to beat anybody to beat him. Herbert is doing something that, a lot of quarterbacks can't do off schedule. A lot of quarterbacks won't do it off schedule, and they're unable to. And what he's been able to do with his legs and his ability to buy time in the pocket, it's been pretty amazing. And you know who else done some things like that? Watched him play this weekend. And I'm telling you, for a young fella, I'm starting to fall more and more in love with them, and they're winning football games. That's not a New England Patriot. Mays.
Oh, Drake Mays, incredible.
He's incredible. Money. I didn't know he was that good of a.
Oh yeah, he's the best quarterback of the bunch.
Okay, I agree. Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah, no,
he's special. Huh? He's got some wiggle. He can in tight pockets. I'm like, okay, this guy can play.
Yeah, I think I don't know, but I do believe there were people in that Bears building that were like, we love Caleb. Caleb's incredible, but man, we can't take the white kid from North Carolina again after doing Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes. We can't do it again as much as we like him. And Caleb's fantastic.
Right. Yeah, no, but that makes sense. No, Trubisky did say, and you're like, God, we can't. It's too close. Took him over Mahomes. Yeah, they had to go with. But and
Caleb's great, and they're going to be fine. But I think it's a reminder.
He's playing better. Caleb's made some huge gains.
Oh yeah,
some huge gains.
It's a reminder, Lo. Like, think about Herbert, right? He's the third quarterback taken. It's Burrow 1, it's Tua 2, it's Herbert 3, and here we are 6 years later. And what do we have? We got Joe Burrow that can't stay on the field. We've got Tua that we don't even know he's going to be back next year, and it's Justin Herbert. And I think that's sort of a reminder. Yeah, Jaden Daniels was incredible last year, but I remember talking to somebody that coached him in college, and he was like, look, man, he's gonna get to the combine. He's gonna clock in at about 200 pounds, but he's playing at 180, and that's hard to do in this league. And I think that's kind of what you're starting to see is it's just really, really hard to stay on the field. And just to spin it back to Bleav in Chargers, like that's where the Justin Herbert thing comes in. Where 6'6", 245 pounds, he's taken 30 more hits than anybody, or 30 more pressures than anyone else in the league, 20 more hits than anyone else in the league. And that's how you can get away with having a team that's given up the most pressures, the most quarterback hits, and what a BS hip drop tackle that wasn't flagged, by the way, by Herbig on that could have seriously injured him. And the guy doesn't even miss a play. He freaking drives a ball the very next pass attempt, gets taped up and spatted up, and just finishes the game.
Yeah, he's just tough. You can't say enough about Herbert, just what kind of Herculean of a man he is. And he gets it, and the team gets it, and everyone knows who's driving this bus. It's easy to know that Herbert's driving this bus. And, in so many teams in the National Football League, it's why it's a quarterback-driven league. And just so happened the Chargers, Harbaugh, and this organization, they got a horse. They got a guy that can stand in the pocket, regardless, broken leg, cracked ankle, busted shin, doesn't matter. Here's a guy that's going to will it to happen. He's just tough. He can tolerate a lot of pain. He's a physical quarterback. He can run when he has to run. So I think we know without a doubt, like you just alluded to, there's a lot of great quarterbacks, but there's not a lot of guys that are dependable, that are going to stay upright, that is going to stay healthy, that can battle through injuries that other quarterbacks couldn't get through and could not play in games. Herbert is playing in games a lot of quarterbacks wouldn't have played in, especially when it comes to last year with that ankle.
Yeah, and just speaking to your point, my friend Kenny over at Inside Edge, I think it's inside-edge.com is where he puts all this stuff. He was sending me a bunch of stuff and going through it, man. It was fun. I'll just kind of rattle off some of them to you. You mentioned pressure. Herbert's completing 75% of his passes when he's not under pressure. So that, to put it in perspective, like what he could be doing right now, how this thing could look if Alton Slater, the best tackle tandem in the league, were out there, that's sort of what we're talking about. But Money Downs scored 67% of their second half drives since week 6. That's first in the NFL. The average, 38%. So when they got to have it since week 6, when they kind of flipped that switch, 67% of their drives in the second half, they are scoring on. Third downs in the fourth quarter, 55% they're converting. And that's kind of what we saw in this game, right? They started, I know they started 1 for 7. Let me see what they ended up finishing at. So, like, just speaking to that, third downs, 1 for 7. They finished 5 for 10. It speaks right to it. In the fourth quarter, 55% of their fourth downs, those 4-minute drills where let's lean on it, take the air out, win these games. And they are, and to the point that you made, I know it was only 25 points, but since last year, this is a team, and now that this defense is humming, 10-0 when they score 27 or more points. So you know what your number is. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you can get to that magic number, you're gonna get out with some wins. And I think, look, is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. They got that Broncos defense, Philly defense, Kansas City defense. Jags even have a pretty darn good front with Josh Hines, Allen, and what they have going up there. So it's not going to be easy. But when you got 10, that's what's able to overcome these sort of things. And I think 10 is now turning into, with Trey Harris, with Keenan Allen, with Oronde Gadsden, with the emergence of Q as this full-rounded go ball, track the ball, high point receiver that we did not see the first 2 seasons. It's not just 10. It's 10 in his complement of weapons.
And I 1,000% agree with you. This week about me, as we talked about, of course, the great win against the Steelers, and you say, look, this is a Steelers franchise that is prideful franchise, a Steelers organization that's winners. They're in first place in the AFC East. You won that game. And as we look forward to me getting ready to play the Jags, this is that game that you just like, I just want to see the Chargers. I don't want to see a Charger team that starts off like you're playing against the Giants. I don't want to see this team that, okay, you beat Tennessee Titans, but you made it closer than it should be. I want to see a team that says, okay, we're a better team. We are a good team. We're going to go out here and take care of business, and we're going to beat them from pillar to post, but we're going to start right away. I don't want to see them struggle and let Jacksonville believe that they can win. I don't want to see Herbert get hit around and then all of a sudden get the crowd in. This is a team, Jacksonville is so inconsistent. They can go out, like you said, and play like they're one of the better teams in the AFC, and then they can just go out and stink it up, and they don't even look recognizable. I mean, the Trevor Lawrence up, down. He's been very, very spotty. This is a game that you have to go. This is a stranglehold game. You go out there and you strangle them right away. You're like, I'm not gonna let you get. I'm not gonna hit you once and let you hit me twice, and I can catch you 3 times. No, I'm gonna go out here and do it. That's what I want to see this game for me with the Chargers, because this is those games, money, that we go out and we say, okay, this is a game Chargers win, and all of a sudden it turns into a Giants game. You're holding on for dear life, and they find a way to lose it. I don't want that to happen this week.
Yeah, I think. And I guess here's what I would say to that, Lo, is before we kind of get into the preview of the Jags, is just look at the last 3 games. Look at the Khalil Mack statement after the Colts game, standing up in front of his team saying, I may not be 100%, but you're gonna have to drag me off that field. This thing's going to turn around right now. This moment is when this thing turns around. And from that moment, when Khalil gave that speech to the defense and did it to the press as well, that's how we know what he said, because he basically said the same thing to us during media availability. This team has allowed 36 points in 4 games. 36 points. And by the way, 7 of those are BS, because it was the garbage touchdown of the Steelers game, which they said they were not happy about, that they weren't just kind of letting off, but they kind of were. They just were keeping everything in front of them. There was still, 5 minutes left in the game. It's like, let's not let anything get crazy and any explosives out there. And that's including, those 36 includes that 8-play, 65-yard drive in the final 4 minutes when the Chargers were up 25-3 and had absolutely throttled the Steelers and put Aaron Rodgers into one of it was either his worst, trying to remember what we saw, what Steve DeSager, my stat man, pulled up. It was either his worst or his second worst passer rating of his career. He was at like 15.9 passer rating prior to that drive. So that's how good they've been against the Vikings, against the Titans, against the Steelers, and against the What am I? Jeez.
That was the last three. Indianapolis.
So it's the last three. I'm sorry. Yeah. So it's the last. It's the last three, not the last four. I'm sorry. Yep. So it's 6, 10, 10, 16. Yeah, it's 26 points. I'm sorry. 26 points. So even better in the last three games. Not 36 in the last four. 26 in the last three.
That's unheard of. And that's because you had a man stand up there, Khalil Mack, and say, no more. Enough's enough. And that's when this defense plays with its head on, its hair on fire. They're penetrating, they're getting upfield, and you make backs bounce another hole, and there's nowhere to go. When they hit and read and stay up, and they get pushed off the ball, the defense doesn't play well. When you have a guy getting through, and all of a sudden now the back has to bounce wider, the defense swarm. Everyone else can gather around the ball. When they play upfield on a new side of the line of scrimmage, the way they're playing the last several weeks, this defense can hum. This defense can play with the best of them. So that's what I want to see. I want to see this defense travel. Want them pack this defense and offense continue to just, dink, dunk, do what you have to do, get the ball out of Herbert's hand quick. Vidal's running well, keep the running game, quick game has to stay elite. You can be fine. You can make some noise. How much is still to be determined? When you look at it now, money, and you say, okay, what you've seen in the last several weeks, is this team the best in the AFC West? Do you still think Denver? Do you still think Kansas City? How do you see it right now with the injuries? I know if Slater and these guys are here, I don't think we're having this conversation. But what this team is now, where do you have them ranked?
I think there's three names to me that have made the difference, and I'll post it on my Instagram a little bit later. I'll pull it up, but the return of Denzel Perriman, the health of Elijah Molden, and the return of Khalil Mack. I think you just take the spine, not that Khalil's part of the spine with that, he's more of an edge, but just he's the anchor of that D line. So you could almost call it the spine of the defense, right?
Oh, sure.
Perriman is packing a punch and a half. He doesn't pack a punch, he packs a punch and a half. And Elijah Molden, man, he had a couple pops in that game that reminded you of last year of how, and he was such an integral part when he kind of got put into that starting safety role and they moved Derwin up to the line of scrimmage and that slot, that big nickel, that slot defender. That's when this defense really took off last year. And I think now you're seeing, and it was especially evident in that game against the Steelers, this defense is back. This defense is now, I felt like after watching that game, it's back. Cam Hart's out there pushing DK Metcalf around. You got Nico Reed, undrafted free agent, one of the best PBUs we've seen all year. Just stride for stride down that right sideline with Calvin Austin. Sees Austin tilt his head back to the left, and what does he do? Doesn't run right into him and get the PI. No, Nico's comfortable with his speed, and he's one of the faster guys. He's just a smaller guy. That's why he didn't get drafted. And I don't think his numbers clocked real well. So I don't think it looked like he's not like a track athlete speed guy, but in pads, you watch him running step for step, man, he gets his head around, and boy, he jumps up, breaks up that pass. I don't even know where I'm going with that. That play just popped into my mind.
You're talking about the defense. You're saying why? Yeah. We're talking about who's better. You look at Kansas City. Exactly. We're talking about Denver. You're talking about these three guys, these pillars that you're talking about coming back, of course. But now you're getting into why you believe that, hey, could they be one or could they be two? Where are they slotted in the AFC West?
Yeah, it's an elite defense now. I believe the defense is elite. As long as they stay healthy, I think that NASCAR package with Khalil, Thule, and Owe is humming. I mean, it is humming. And like we said, you can get good Trevor Lawrence, you can get bad Trevor Lawrence. I think between those three and what Caldwell, Tart, and Deshaun Hand, now that he's back, oh man, there's that photo of Bud Dupree hitting Aaron Rodgers that's circulating on the internet. Looks like, why is that old man out on the field? Right. Why is that guy hurting that old man out there? Right. That's not nice.
Right.
You see the Deshaun early in the game had a hit where he put all 330 pounds on top of him. And I think it was, to me, that set the tone where Rodgers was like, that ain't happening again. And you saw him turn down some of those throws. He's throwing balls at the feet of Jaylen Warren when he could have completed a pass. There was a 2nd and 6 in the red zone. And he had Warren, and he just saw Boyd be coming at him, and he was like, nope. And he just threw it right at his feet.
Business decision.
Exactly. And he was making business decisions all night. But I was mentioning that play from Perriman, man. It was early in the game, and I'll post it because, you could hear it we're on the 7th floor, and it was on our end of the field. And when he hit that run fit and popped that dude, I was like, okay, here we go. This is what we've been waiting for, man. This is what we saw last year with Perriman and Dayon together, and what we saw with the emergence of Elijah Molden. It just, if this defense is back, 26 points allowed in their last 3 games. And if you're getting confused by that, remember in the Tennessee game, you had a pick 6 and a punt return for a touchdown. That's 14 of those points. So that's why when they scored 20 total, only 6 given up by the defense. So that's what we're saying. Like, if this defense is going to play like this, and I have no reason to believe they're not, Thule is emerging as one of the really, really good, like almost borderline great elite all-around defensive ends in the league. Owe is fit in perfectly. I think they can. I think they can do that. I think they can be in the conversation. I don't think the AFC West is running away, that the Broncos are running away with that. They're a game and a half up on the Chiefs because they won that game in Brazil. I don't think, even though they're playing really, really good football right now, I still think that plus 320, we talked about what FanDuel has the Chargers at to win the AFC West. I'd still be comfortable, saying, you know what, let's see. That Eagles offense just scored 10 points against the Packers. And here's a defense that's allowing less than 9 points per game over their last 3. So let's see it. Let's see if Jalen Hurts and company can do it. We know how good that defense is, but this is a team that you can pack a defense, right? And you're going to have to, because you got to play at Kansas City, at Denver, and at Dallas in those final 4 weeks.
Yeah, you do. That's the thing. It's going to be interesting to see because, like I said, if I had my 2 tackles, and that the defense, like you said, the defense right now is not scaring us. It doesn't say, okay, is the defense going to hold up?
Yeah,
they're playing faster. They played faster than the Steelers. When this defense is playing like they're humming now, it's like they're swarming to the ball. It's not like they are swarming to the ball. 1 hat, 2 hat, 3 hat. They come in, it's like a bunch of bees watching the Chargers fly around. It's impressive. It's fun to watch when you see the way this defense swarm to the ball. They're getting after it. So defense, I think the defense is ready to go. Like you said, with Molden coming back and the guys that are coming back and what they have, Mack, all those guys, I think the defense is ready and it's playing at a high level. The question mark, that's why I'm saying, how good can this team be? How far do it goes? To me, it starts up front with the offensive line. If the offensive line can help hold Herbert up, and it's going to be tough because in the playoffs how it is, money. Them boy dogs, them pass rushers, they're going to want to eat, and it's a different speed. Is this team, can it hold up in the playoffs? Because you know what the defense can do? That's the question. Because if the offense can hold up and don't turn the ball over and make teams work for it, this team has a chance, but it's going to be hard schematically to ask your offensive line with backup tackles, backups, up and down that offensive line. How can this team get to a Super? Because the ultimate goal, we know what it is. It's to hold that Lombardi trophy up. Yeah. And you've seen things happen. I just don't know right now. Can it do it? Can it evolve to that? Absolutely. These guys can get better. They are getting better. They're growing. But that's my question right now. That's the biggest question, because I know these next 4 or 5 weeks of the season, it's about jockeying for position. You saw what happened when we had to travel to the Texans last year. If you're at home, if you're doing certain things, if you get a home game, get things going, get your body, and you're playing well, I think this team can play with anyone. So I'm just excited about, the next upcoming weeks.
Yeah, I was looking at it as you were talking about it, low on the offensive line and being able to protect. And I had mentioned, Josh Hines-Allen and how good he is. And Eric Armstead for them has got 4.5 sacks. Josh only has 2. Travon Walker, who they drafted ahead of Aiden Hutchinson, only has 2. And I was like, man, I didn't know it was that. So I went and looked it up. They are dead last in sack percentage right now. 3.4% of snaps. They're able to score a sack. Right now, the Chargers, and the Chargers don't blitz. Chargers are 6th in sack percentage, 8.7 Buffalo, Detroit, Cleveland, Atlanta, Denver are ahead of them right now. So that's, the struggles that you had. And look, Pittsburgh, one of the best, in terms of those edges. Their edges can get after you. And they were able, even though, there's 5 sacks in that game, like we said, I think that was just part of the game plan. It's like, hey, man, just eat it, and we're good. Punt, field goal, touchdown, turnovers. That was the game plan. So this is a week that should line up for them to be able to take advantage of maybe not as many quick pressures, an opportunity like we talked about from our friends at Inside Edge, what Herbert's able to do, completing 75% of his passes when he's not pressured. So it lines up pretty darn well for them. I don't know if you noticed, Lo, when you were talking, as I was wrapping up, I was trying to find the play. And like I said, I'll post it. But, it was early first quarter, a 2nd and 6, and 11 minutes left. And, man, Denzel, it's Jaylen Warren. And he comes into that hole, and he's like, ooh, I got a lane. And then I remember I was talking to Maurice Jones-Drew, and he was telling me one time, Shoelace, Denard Robinson, when he was a rookie with the Jags. And he's like, hey, listen, man, just so you know, it's camp, and guys are trying to make a name for themselves, and we're full pads. And I'm telling them, like, whatever you do, if you think you see daylight in that hole, sometimes it's not there. Keep your head up. Don't put your head down. Don't think you're going to run through someone. He goes, this poor kid, man, he got in that hole, and he didn't know what was waiting for him. I thought he was dead. He said he got hit so hard. I was like, you better tie your shoes from now on, because you almost got your damn shoes knocked off, like some kid getting hit by a car. Damn near blew like he got hit by lightning. Blew the shoes off him. He got hit so hard. That's what this hit reminded me of, man. 30. He comes off the Washington, the tight end collapses on a Boygby, and he thinks he's got a lane because Bud's rushing wide, and Denzel's just hiding right behind him, and pop! I mean, he hits him so hard, it's like running into a brick wall.
Oh, you got to post that, because I love it. I know those type of hits when you're back and you think that you got daylight. I've been on both sides. Sometimes you get the bear, and sometimes the bear gets you. I remember, playing linebacker in freaking high school. Sean Wills, you probably remember that guy, played baseball at UCLA, one of the phenom athletes, freaking one of the best at that time, high school kids in the world, country. And we're playing against him, and I catch him. He thinks he's breaking. He's on the sideline. I hit him. Hit him, and he jumps up, and I'm like, I know I got him. Yeah. And halftime, he comes back out in a neck brace, and he's like, "Yeah, boy, yeah, that's that neck roll. Neck roll. Put that neck roll on, because I'm coming." So, and then I remember playing against the Raiders. You probably was there, Money. Freaking number 23. Don't even safety. This is in 2005 in the Coliseum, and we at the game, so we're by 12, 14, whatever. And it ran on. I tell Coach, give me the F base. Let me just run up. Boom, I see daylight. Oh, I think safety comes hit me, and I stay. He hit me. It rocked me, Money. I'm laying on the field. Dr. Chow has to come out. So I've been in that situation. That's why I can't wait to play. You put this on social media, and I'm going to go back and like, God, I remember getting that hit like that. Yeah. And those they change your day. When you get it, when you go out in a game and you're trying to impose your will, and the other team's trying to impose your will, it's whoever imposes will. You're going to take some blows, but sometimes you get back in that corner, you're like, do I really want to play? Am I going to take off? You have to make decisions when and when out to pull that gun and say, I'm going to fire it. I'm going to keep it in the holster. Or I'm going to live the fight on another day. So everyone has those decisions to make.
Yeah. All right, Lo. So I think as we look at Jacksonville, a couple things, right? They take the ball away. That's one thing they got going for them is they got takeaways. They are, I believe, second in the league now at +8 in turnover differential. Now, Trevor Lawrence has thrown 7 interceptions. They don't fumble the ball. Trevor Lawrence has fumbled it twice, has lost it once. So very similar to the Steelers. They're not going to give you a lot of opportunities on offense of taking the ball away. So when they do, take advantage of it. When you got a tip drill from Calvin Austin, Dante Jackson's there to intercept the ball. When you've got a ball sailing high because Aaron Rodgers thinks he's about to get hit, there's R.J. Mickens with a secure catch. Those are pivotal to make sure the takeaways are there, or that you capitalize on the takeaways when they're presented to you. and to protect the ball. The other thing that I'll say quickly is special teams. This is a team with 2 punt return touchdowns. So I thought J.K. Scott was sensational. To understand that muff punt, that was all J.K. If you go back, maybe that's another one I'll post. The rotation he put on that ball, man, it was side spinning and it was fading. That led to that muff punt. So to me, I think it's another turnover game. It's make sure you don't turn the ball over, take it away from them, and protect special teams.
Oh, 1,000%. Like you said, that punt, it had that little wiggle on it. The guy tries to catch it, touches his hands, and gets the ball back. This is a game for me. Get ahead and let the defense eat. Yeah. This defense you just talked about, they can get after you with 4. They don't compromise the integrity of the secondary. You let this team get ahead, the Chargers, and let this defense just feast, pin their ears back, and let them have fun. That's what I want to see this game. I want to see this offense take care of the ball, and maybe, like you said, boom, 3 out, punt, boom, kick a field goal. You're up before you know it. You're up 10-0. Okay, make it 13. When you're like that, and you just go about methodically whipping some ass, and don't turn the ball over, you're going to win the games. And I think that's why Herbert took the 5 sacks, like you said. I think they've said, Herbert, look, live the fight on another day. Let's just not turn the ball. Let's not give teams short fields. Let's just say, okay, cool. We know you can do some amazing things. Don't take these chances. Let's punt the ball and give your defense a chance to get the ball back for you so you can work your magic. Let's not try to win the game on the first series. Yep. That's all I want this offense to start concentrating on and doing, is saying we don't need to win the game the first series. We win the game overtime.
Yeah, I'll say, and Trevor Lawrence taking a lot of sacks too. So, capitalize on that. Get him behind the sticks. Try to force him into some bad decisions. He's taken 26 sacks. The Chargers, the last 3 games on this 3-game winning streak, their sack percentage is 4th best in the league, 12.63%. So they're really getting after it. Before we wrap, too, I want to point out a big thanks to Lindsay for putting it, our producer, in the right below us on YouTube. There's a little link there. My daughter Preston is the one that did that sweet guitar lick that brings us in to Bleav in Chargers. Just put out a new song on Friday of last week. So if you want to check it out, if you can support, that stuff goes a long way. The first week, the more streams you get, that's how you get on playlists and you can grow something quickly. So if any of you don't mind, click on that and give it a listen. Mean a lot to me. Certainly appreciate it. So thanks, Lindsay, for putting that up there. But sack percentage and create turnovers. Don't turn the ball over. They're pretty good against the run. They give up a lot of yardage through the air. They're pretty stout against the run. I think they're top 7 against the run. So those yards might be a little bit harder to come by. But when you got Herbert and you're going up against a bottom 10 passing defense, it's a pretty good looking path for victory. This is a big one, though. Like we said, remember, they're 5-4. The Chiefs are 5-4. And right now the Chiefs are out of the playoffs and the Jags are in because they beat them head-to-head. So this could go a long way in tiebreakers. And by the way, the Chargers 6-1 in the AFC. So when you're talking, when you get to those tiebreakers, if they're splitting, if they're going to split with the Broncos or the Chiefs and maybe they sweep the Raiders and like all of that equals out, it then goes to conference record. So this is a big one. Beat the Jags. Maybe you have a little slip up against the Eagles or something like that. That's an NFC team. So that goes into that's a huge part of the tie-breaking formula. Win your division games, win your conference games in that order. And that's how you find yourself with a home game.
I'm with you. I think it's possible and probable, Money. Yep. I really believe that this team can be the number 2 seed. If they win the games, if you take care of business, you're the number 2. Because you look at the AFC West or AFC in general, it's Indy and no one else. It's Indy and then, Denver. So you still play Denver. So you have a chance. If I'm the Chargers, I'm like, look, let's get one. Of course, shoot for 1. But if you can get 2 and you're playing at home for week to week, if something happens to the number 1 seed, just take care of business. That's all they have to do. And right now, this Chargers is good enough to make it happen. So I'm excited. Let's go both up.
Ain't going to be easy. I think it's the 6th hardest schedule remaining. The Patriots have the easiest remaining schedule, and they're already 8-2. So that's going to be tough to catch them. But, hey, let's win some games. Pretty simple. Let's win some games. And it starts this week in Jacksonville. We'll be excited to get back with you next week. Again, thanks to our friends at FanDuel. Big thank you to Lindsay. And if you don't mind, pop that little Spotify link below us and give Can't Lie a listen. And make sure you leave comments. Got through all the ones from Monday, so make sure to from Monday. So do the same here. Appreciate y'all. And Lo, I'll post that thing up on IG, and I'll make sure I tag you so you can see Denzel, DP, Pop Jalen Warren, something good, man.
I'm gonna watch it, but absolutely awesome to Preston too, man. Your daughter, that's awesome. I'm gonna definitely post it too. Got to check it out, man. She's got some skills, so definitely thanks for letting us know about her money.
Appreciate it, Lo. Appreciate all of you. We'll be back again next week, and bolt up.